Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to present our recently released integration between Check and WhatsApp, which we are calling Check Message, which is like a solution to try to verify content at a large scale, which is the case on some messaging apps like WhatsApp. So I'm a senior software engineer at Meedan, which is a company from the United States, and we have been working on these kinds of things, like to verify misinformation on the internet for a long time. So the context for this presentation is that we have even more recently misinformation circulating on that kind of apps, right? So, and the main difference between this kind of app is like in other sites on the internet or social networks is that those networks, they are closed, right? So if it's happening inside a group, if you're not part of that group, it's very hard to verify what's going on there. And we need new practices, new workflows, and new technology to try to handle this kind of content on that networks, and that's what Meedan does. So just a bit of history until we reached that level. We have been developing technology to fight fake news since 2006. Personally, I have been at Meedan since 2011, when we started developing a software for collaborative fact-checking of misinformation on the internet. So we started verifying things that happened during the Arabic Spring, around 2012, on those countries of the Middle East where the press is very controlled and that many journalists don't have enough freedom to express themselves. So it was necessary to have a platform to verify that kind of stuff in that area. So this is when we started, when fake news was not even a buzzword like it is today, right? So the software has been used since then in many different contexts around the world, like the independent investigation of the accidents with the plane MH17, which was done by Bellingcat, which is also part of this conference here, when they did this awesome independent investigation of this accident using our tool. And it's been used in election things since 2016. So it was used in the United States on a project called Electionland, which was like a big project of more than 1,000 journalists working to verify information about the American elections in 2016. And also in other elections like Crosscheck, that Google News just presented about it as well in France, and also the Verificado for the Mexican elections last year. And this year, we have this different context where we used Check to verify content for the Indian elections in India in the first semester of this year, where the biggest difference is that we would need to verify information that's circulated on WhatsApp. Because in India, WhatsApp has something like 200 million users, and it is largely used. And in India, actually, there have been some serious problems related to misinformation on WhatsApp that also led to deaths and to some serious stuff. So misinformation on WhatsApp in India is a big problem. And so for that time, we had to develop some new technology to deal with this new problem. Why this? Because the misinformation that circulates on WhatsApp has some main differences for things that happen on the internet in other normal websites or on social networks. First is the scale, right? On WhatsApp, millions of messages are sent every time, and it's very fast to replicate that message. So imagine that we have a website. If you want to replicate that site or replicate a Twitter post or a YouTube video, it's not as fast as just forwarding a message on WhatsApp, right? It's very easy to forward a message on WhatsApp or to forward to many people at the same time. So the scale is very big, which is very hard for a newsroom or for a group of journalists to verify that stuff manually on hand. Imagine that you are receiving millions of messages every time to be verified. Many of them are duplicates, and then you need to verify each of those messages one by one. It's a big challenge for a human to do that, right? So also the speed, because since the misinformation can be spread very quickly on WhatsApp, it's very important that the verification is done quickly as well. So we can try to slow down the spread of fake news on WhatsApp and try to spread the truth that can find that misinformation that's being circulated. So we tried to come up with a technology for that, which we call the check message, that we could try to optimize this workflow. So many of the manual tasks could be done by the technology, by a bot automatically. For example, you didn't need to answer each user one by one manually, or you didn't need to talk to the user. And all this interaction could be done by the WhatsApp user and a bot, and not by the journalist and the user, so the journalist can focus on what is really important, which is to verify the information and to see if that information is really true. We could automate parts of the analysis of that content. We don't have a 100% automated verification of that content because it's simply not reliable and not possible. So we try to automate things like identifying the language automatically, or we can do a reverse image search if it's an image, so we can know if that image was present in another context, in another website, because it's very easy, right? It's to get an image that happens in another place and time, and you can share saying that it happens in another place and time. So that's kind of information we can also automate. And one of the most important tasks that we can do automatically is to deduplicate. So we can filter duplicate stuff and combine them in a single item. So if there are thousands of people sending the same information to be verified to this WhatsApp number, the journalist can focus on verifying that item only once. So you don't need to answer the users one by one. You verify the contents only once, and all the users that sent that information can be notified when that item is verified. And as part of this similarity and duplication filter, what we can do is to prioritize, right? So if there is an item that is being reported by many users, since we are able to deduplicate them and to merge them into a single item, we can also sort them. And so the items that are being more notified more often by the users can be verified first, because they are probably more serious or that they are more impactful, so those can be verified first. So this is a very simple flow of how it works. So the user just sends a message to WhatsApp. This WhatsApp number is connected to a check installation, a check team, which is a group of journalists working on a specific project there. And then the item, after it passes through the automate flow, the duplication filter, it ends up in check, so it can be verified. And once the item is verified, all the users that sent that the item to be verified, or the similar items, etc., they all receive a message on WhatsApp with the verification results. So this is basically how it looks like. On this first screen here, we have a WhatsApp number. I'm using as the example the India project here, which was called Checkpoint. And sending something to the bot will ask the user to confirm. And after the verification is done, the user is going to receive a meme and a link on WhatsApp with a public view on this third screen here of the verification results. I'm going to also show this live later. And this is the check view. So this is where the items that are sent for verification end up. So this is like a content management system that the journalist has access to, and prioritized by the ones that were most requested. And this is the single item view, which is where the journalist can do all the verification work and answer a set of tasks until he can reach a conclusion if the item is true or false. And we keep a log of all things that happen. So we can understand all the work that was done until this conclusion was reached. So I have some kinds of demo now, which will be more clear how it works. So this is a WhatsApp view of the number. It's simply WhatsApp contact as any other. This is one number that we use only for demonstrations and testing, so each project has its own number. So I'm sending a picture here to be verified. It's a guy and chicken on the beach, and I want to know if this is true or false. So I send this to the bot. The bot is going to reply, asking the user to confirm if he wants this content to be verified or not. Why we need to do that? Because we receive many kinds of nonsense messages, like, hello, hi, thank you, please verify my content. So we need to ask the user for a confirmation so we can avoid abuse, spamming, and that kind of stuff. So I send the item again, because this time I'm going to confirm, and only after I confirm is that the item ends up on check for verification. So I send the number 1. After I send the number 1 is that when the item is going to the verification queue inside the check. So this is the check view that I showed before. So this team is connected to this WhatsApp number. We have a list of the items that are being verified. We have 2 different views on check. This is the list view. We have this kind of grid view, which is good to see more items and especially to see the images, because we have the thumbnails. And then I'm going to enter the item that was just sent through WhatsApp. We have a timeline of all the actions that happened over that item. And then I can do the verification work, which is basically done by answering a set of tasks, which are also customized per team, because every team has its own workflow, has its own standards to do this kind of verification. So I can answer this set of tasks, which is like, is the content original or not? Can you spot where it happened, who posted the content? That's things that can give you hints about if that content is true or false. So after the journalist can reach this conclusion, we can change the status to something that is final. So the user on WhatsApp is notified only when the item reaches a final status. So if it is in progress or while the journalist is still analyzing the item, the user doesn't receive any feedback. So I changed it to verified. Let's say that I thought that it was true. And then the user is going to receive on WhatsApp a message with the status saying that is true or false, and a link to the public view. So this link can be shared among other users, and it contains a description and the set of tasks that are public. Not all tasks are visible for the user, because in many cases it can be like sensitive. And the journalist can also change his mind. So let's say that I thought that it was true, but it was actually false. So after I also changed the status to something else, the user is going to be notified again, saying that the item had a status, but now it has another. And besides receiving those verification results as a link with this public view, we can also generate a meme. So it's like a way to fight fake news with something that's with the same media, using the same language. So we have this kind of a meme editor where you can generate a meme for that content and publish. And once that is published, all the users that sent that content to be verified are going to receive an image on their WhatsApp number, which is like a meme about that information, saying that if it's true or false. And as another thing that I would like to demonstrate here is that if an item is already verified, so here I have a tweet, so it's a link that contains the same image, and that's marked as false. So if we have something in the database that is already verified, it doesn't need to be verified again. So if a user sends something to be verified that it's already verified, so here I'm sending a link to the Twitter, to the tweet that is already verified, the bot is going to answer right away, saying that it is something that is already verified. So we also save this work from the journalist, because if it's something that is already verified, it doesn't need to be verified again. So we can see that the user received the results a few seconds after sending the message to be verified. We have some other features and other details, but this is the big picture of how this semi-automated workflow happens. So that's what I had to demonstrate here and what I had to show. I hope you like it. My contacts are here. We have a workshop about the subject this afternoon at 3 p.m. and I'll be around tomorrow for the hackathon. Thank you very much.